6:30, and we will begin the presentation. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Thompson Mill Road Water Main Replacement Project update. Good evening. Thank you for joining us. My name is David Hayes. I am Director of Watershed Management, and it is a pleasure to be here this evening to provide some information to you on this upcoming project. The team and we are excited to bring this project to the community as it is a well-needed project. Next slide, please. Again, as I stated, my name is David Hayes. I am Director of Watershed Management. I've had the privilege to be Director of Watershed Management now for just at 2 years, appointed by the CEO. I've been a member of Team DeKalb and Watershed Management now for just at 28 years as a licensed water professional. You're going to hear from a host of other water professionals that are part of Watershed Management. And what we're hoping to do today is to give you some detailed information on what we're doing, why we're there, what the problems have been, and the solutions that we're bringing forward to correct the issues that are there in that community. You're going to hear from, again, specific professionals from Watershed that are going to provide this information, and we hope at the end of this program or this meeting that you will have a clear understanding on this process and what we're doing here. Next slide, please. This project is taking place within Districts 5 and District 7. District 5, Commissioner Meridian Davis Johnson, and District 7, Commissioner Cochran Johnson. They've been very supportive of this project, and it's because of them that we're able to bring this project to you. If there's any commissioners in the meeting tonight or representatives from the commissioners camp, if you'd like to say anything at this point, I'd like to give you the opportunity to address our audience.
Good evening, everyone. This is Demetrius McCoy, Chief of Staff for Commissioner Marita Davis Johnson. She will be on the call later on this evening, but do want to thank you, David, and your entire team for hosting this meeting for this very important project.
Very good.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Dr. Leah Davis, Chief of Staff for Commissioner Lorraine Cochran Johnson. And she is not on the call at this time. However, on her behalf, we would like to welcome each and every one of you to this meeting, the second meeting on this project. And we would like to, as Demetrius just stated, thank Mr. Hayes and his staff, his team, as well as Alicia Penny for all the work that she has done in coordinating this meeting. Thank you.
Very good. I appreciate the comments and thank you for joining us. Again, this mission this evening is to provide crucial information to allow people to understand how we're going to impact their communities and the benefits of what's to come from this small inconvenience. Next slide, please. So for those who don't know, or for those who've not heard in some time, I'd like to give a little brief overview of Watershed and what we do. Next slide. Watershed, we service the entire DeKalb County area, including some other small portions of Clayton, Gwinnett, Atlanta, Fulton. Inside of DeKalb, we have more than 750, just at nearing 800,000 residents. We provide a water service delivering safe potable water to these more than 750 residents and businesses throughout DeKalb County. We have the ability to treat just at 128 million gallons of drinking water per day. We collect that water from the Chattahoochee River and we send it to our Scott Kendler drinking water facility where it's processed and cleaned and sent to the distribution system for the residents. The current demand for DeKalb County is just around 70 million gallons of drinking water per day. And so we put about 70 million gallons of drinking water into that distribution system and send it out to the businesses and residents throughout DeKalb County. Once the water is used at the businesses and residents, then that water goes down the drainage system and goes into DeKalb County's collection system. That collection system, it conveys that water over to one of two of the DeKalb County wastewater treatment facilities, where that water is then treated and sent back into the local rivers for others to use downstream. These wastewater treatment facilities, they have the ability to treat as much as 56 million gallons per day of wastewater. Our current demand in the DeKalb County wastewater treatment facilities is just at about 35 to 37 million gallons of wastewater that is returned to those facilities per day. Now that water going back and forth through that distribution system that gets it to you, and then that collection system that removes that water and brings it back to us for treatment, it's conveyed in our very strategically placed and detailed long set of pipe systems. That's about 5,000 miles of pipe, just over 5,000 miles of pipe. It's a large system, a lot of pipe that we are maintaining and have to make sure that it is functioning properly every single day, 24 hours, 7 days a week. 5,000 miles of pipe, that's enough pipe to extend from Georgia to California and back, just to give you a little context of how much pipe we're talking about. And a great deal of this pipe is old in age. It's been around. DeKalb County in 2022, we're now celebrating 200 years of DeKalb County. Some of this pipe is near that age. We have pipe in the ground that far exceeds 60 to 80 years of age. Some pipe recently as much as 100 years of age. And this pipe gets old. It has a life expectancy, as everything does. Your vehicles, your housing, your flooring in your house, your HVAC systems, there's a life expectancy. And so this pipe, a great deal of it is reaching or has reached its life expectancy. And so that's one of the reasons we're here today. We've experienced a great deal of main breaks in this area that have inconvenienced you, has wasted our precious resource of water that we clean and send through that distribution system. And so this project is to help us manage that old infrastructure, or that infrastructure that needs to be updated and upsized, because DeKalb County is continually growing. Next slide, please. So as I just mentioned, the purpose of this is to reduce the main breaks. So DeKalb County's Watershed Management Engineering Division, we have been studying this system and to understand what the issues are, where the issues are, and we've been trying to prioritize the repairs or the upgrades in this system according to the demand or the need. So what we've done is to identify the areas, and we prioritize areas that need the repairs or upgrades, and we're going to make those repairs to reduce the breaks. What that's going to do is that's going to help allow us to improve the customer service, and ultimately that's going to allow DeKalb County to continue to grow at the rate that it's growing for future generations to come. And it's going to allow us to provide a better service to you with far less interruptions. Next slide. And as I mentioned, the Watershed Engineering Division, they're the division who is leading this initiative. They put together what I call a dream team. This team of professionals have been comprised to allow this project to go quickly, as painless as possible, on time, and we're trying to do this thing at or under budget. So what you see here is a group of professionals that have been put together to allow us to bring this service to you. AECOM and Gresham Smith, their engineering firms, and CERM. AECOM help us design. CERM is going to help us to manage the construction site and job. SD and C and T and J, they're going to be the contractors on ground who are going to be putting those shovels in the ground and laying that pipe to allow us to make this project happen. Next person that you're going to hear from, next slide, please. It's going to be Assistant Director Cassandra Marshall. She's going to give you a little bit more detail about the problems that we've been experiencing there. And then she's going to allow you or share with you the solution that we've put together to correct these concerns and issues. Ms. Marshall.
Thank you, Director Hayes. Good evening. My name is Cassandra Marshall. I am the CIP Assistant Director over the CIP Program for Watershed Management. I've been with the county for over 10 years now. I have over 20 years plus in construction management and construction experience. I am also a licensed water professional, and I am a certified project manager. And again, as he said, in these next few slides, I will provide an overview of the system problems and our solutions to repairing the aging water system. Next slide. So in this area, the county has been faced with 44 water main breaks from 1989 to 2021. We've had multiple complaints about brown water and low water pressure issues. Brown water is an indication of sediment or rust in the system. It can be present after a water main break, which stirs up the deposit in the system. Therefore, we have to thoroughly flush the system to get those deposits and remove those from the system. But the primary issue is the infrastructure in the system is just age. This area right here, the pipe was mostly installed in the 1960s. The pipe material in this area is primarily cement pipe with small quantities of cast iron, which only has a life expectancy of 70 plus years. However, a lot of that depends on the conditions and the environment. However, the number of pipe failures, it pretty much shows whether the pipes needs to be replaced. And as we said earlier, we've had 44 water main breaks. So that's a good indicator that the pipe is in need of replacement. Next slide. So the county has over 3,000 miles of pipe in the water distribution system to maintain, to provide drinking waters to the ratepayers. We have 4 pressure zones, 21 water storage tanks, which are shown in the cyan colors on the map, 16 pumping stations, which are in the blue, and 6 pressure regulating stations. As you can see, this is a large system to maintain. Most of the system is aged and cannot be repaired all at once. That's for the county had to develop a best practice way to evaluate and prioritize how and when the piping would be replaced. So our first objective was to model the system. In 2019, the county developed its first hydraulic model. A hydraulic model is a computer simulation of the system. The model provides a big picture of how the system should be functioning. To develop the model, we use the county GIS data from the meter water usage in the billing system, and from the system facilities such as the water storage facilities. This data was ultimately used to develop the county master plan and to prioritize which projects we were going to do first. Next slide. So to this point of the presentation, you've heard about the problem and our development of how we prioritize projects. So I will now speak about the solution and the execution of the CIP project. So what does CIP stand for? CIP, it can either be new construction, it can be an expansion, renovation, or replacement of an existing infrastructure. In 2022, the commissioners approved a new CIP program for $2.4 billion for projects to be completed from 2021 to 2030. The Thompson Mill Water Main Replacement Project is a $4.1 million project included in that plan. And my team, the CIP team, is responsible for getting that work done. We're responsible for the construction, the oversight of the contractor. My team includes 4 DWM construction managers and 12 licensed inspectors. Later in the presentation, you will also hear from the DWM construction manager, which is Mr. Bacchus Jackson, who has over 10 years plus of construction management experience and is a licensed water professional. Along with in-house staff, we're also supported by consulting firms who help assist the county with construction management and inspection services. But what we want you to really know is we're here to help. We want to reduce and eliminate emergency repairs. We want to stop breaks, and we want to protect the environment. And finally, after the project is complete, we want to improve sustainability to the system. These improvements should last a minimum of 70+ years. Next slide. You will now hear from Mr. Bacchus Jackson about the project scope and overview.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you, Assistant Director Marshall. I will be the construction project manager for this particular project. My team will consist of 1 construction manager, 2 consultant inspectors, and 1 DeKalb County inspector. I will also work closely with the general contractor and his subcontractors that was mentioned earlier on this project in order to facilitate a quick and efficient project completion. Slide. Thompson Mill Road Water Replacement Project. The planned work is basically an installation of 710 linear feet of 8-inch and 10,000 more linear feet of 12-inch ductile iron water main inside the right-of-way and under existing pavement. The existing streets will be milled and resurfaced once the new water main installation is complete. The existing 6-inch cement water main will be abandoned in place and filled with a non-shrink grout. Slide. As you can see on the map, we have the Thompson Mill that runs from Panola Road to the Snapfinger Road. Now there are neighborhoods within the Thompson Mill Road that basically uses Thompson Mill to go from Panola Road to Snapfinger, and some use from Snapfinger to go to Panola Road. And we will be affecting a lot of the major intersections, which is Miller Road, Snapfinger Road, and the Thompson Mill Road. Exactly. So if you follow the red line going from Panola Road all the way up to the Snapfinger, those are many areas that we will be affecting, but it'll be a short area, between 100 to maybe 300 feet at a time. Slide. The method that we're going to be using in construction is what we call open cut method. This consists of cutting the asphalt, digging the trench, and installing the new water line, backfilling that trench and replacing the asphalt. As these illustrations right here show a couple of workers that's actually doing the work as they speak. And basically they'll land the pipe, they dig it, and then they actually fill it back in, and we replace it with asphalt. Slide. Now, the duration of this particular project, we had started putting out community notices May 15th of 2023. Our preparation actually started in June 12th, 2023, which is basically making assessments of the bridge and the different traffic areas and how we're going to be putting the pipe in. And the construction start date is going to be June 21st, 2023. Now, final restoration and paving will be January 3rd, 2024, and the construction end will be January 31st, 2024. Now, all of these dates are weather and site condition dependent. Slide. Ladies and gentlemen, we are the men and the women and the construction teams on the ground. We're the boots on the ground and the first line of contact for this particular project. From the first day of commencement, my team will be on site to ensure that construction activities, which includes ensuring that erosion and sedimentation controls are in place, ensuring that the contractor is installing the pipe according to the contract documents, drawings, and specifications, and also ensuring that all safety measures are in place, ensuring that all trenches and holes are backfilled and secure for the day. Slide. Towards the end of the project, we will, if you notice on the picture, we'll talk about restoration. And if you look on the before side, this is what it will look like. We'll have a little bit of asphalt, rock that will be actually in the roadside once we dig and actually place the pipe. But on the right side is our restoration. And this is how we're going to restore it. And it's depicted on, like I say, after, and you see the asphalt. Slide. Next, we will have Ms. Cassandra Marshall that will actually talk about who will discuss the community awareness.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. So I will now discuss community concerns and what you should be aware of. So what to expect? Well, there are going to be inconveniences. However, the short-term interruptions provide long-term results. Once we replace the pipe in this area, as previously stated, these improvements should last a minimum of 70+ years. However, during the construction, though, you're going to see a lot of construction traffic, foot and vehicles, large dump trucks, and large heavy equipment coming in out of your community. There will be construction workers, county employees, and contractors workers parked along the streets. There will be material and equipment deliveries by means of large tractor trailers. However, the crews and flaggers will guide these large vehicles in and out of the community. As a security measure, all county contractors and county employees will have an identification badge and/or marked vehicles. There are going to be increased noise from the equipment backup alarms, heavy equipment usage, and saw cutting of the asphalt. Our typical work hours are going to be from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, and sometimes weekends. One thing to note, residents will always have access to their driveways during construction, and notifications will be distributed prior to any water disruption. Next slide. So the sign at the bottom left of the screen is an example of the sign we require our contractors to install prior to starting work in the area. These signs are to be placed in the view of the line of traffic on every street impacted at a minimum of 72 hours prior to starting any construction. And the sign on the bottom right is an example of a generic county contractor sign to be placed on unmarked company vehicles. Other vehicles will have their company logos. All cars on the county project site must be marked and identifiable as a security measure. Next slide. We also have message boards, such as the signs shown on the slide on the left. We've got message board at both ends of the projects at Panola Road and Snapfinger. These signs will be up at a minimum of a week prior to starting construction. Next slide. You will now hear from Ms. Alicia T. Penny about public communication.
Thank you, Assistant Director Marshall. Good evening, everyone. My name is Alicia Penny, and I am the Public Relations Manager responsible for communications and outreach for the department. I have been with the department for 20 years and manager for 10 years. I am also a DeKalb County resident, so I understand how important the partnership is with the community when we are doing these projects. So we want to first thank you again for taking out time tonight and joining us for this meeting. We hope that we will answer all of your questions that you have regarding this project, and we will always be available to answer any additional questions that you have regarding this project. Tonight, I will share with you the methods DWM will use to communicate with you about this project. Ahead of tonight's meeting, you received a notification letter similar to the one shown here to the far left describing the details of the project, the hours of the project, and informing you of tonight's meeting. Going forward, 48 to 72 hours ahead of construction, each homeowner will receive a door hanger or letter like the one shown here, which will tell you again, remind you of the hours of work and what to expect during construction. We will also use the GovDelivery e-blast notification service to communicate with you. And so at this time, I ask, if you've not done so, I ask if you would please place your email addresses in the chat so that we can capture those and use those for the duration of the project. Next slide, please. These are the touch points we will use to communicate. First, we have the project hotline, which is a 1-800 phone number and email address. It is important to note that this project hotline is available during normal business hours. And it is a phone line where you can leave a message and someone will return your call within 24 to 48 hours. Additionally, we will have a dedicated webpage for the project, which will have tonight's presentation posted there as well as other project information. And I want to also say that we will use social media. We will be putting the meeting recording out through our social media avenues, which will be Facebook and Twitter. We will also use news releases and the county's weekly newsletter entitled The Relay to share information as needed. Other ways we'll communicate with you, we will use DCTV, which is DeKalb County Television. We will use the Nextdoor platform, project signs, which Assistant Director Marshall and Mr. Jackson explained to you earlier that those signs are up and they're to inform you about the project. And these are standard signage that we put out for all of our projects across the county. Next slide, please. Here we have, and I will pause for a minute. Here we have QR codes. And if you position your camera and click on these codes, it will take you directly to Nextdoor, our Facebook page, our Twitter page, and to our YouTube channel. Tonight's presentation, as well as the first presentation is already posted on our YouTube page, and tonight's presentation will be posted there as well. And I'll pause here for a moment to allow people an opportunity to use their phones. Next slide, please. Listed here, you will find key contact information for the project. Most important is our dedicated project hotline, which I referred to earlier. And also listed here are the contact names and numbers for the engineering and construction team for the project. Finally, and most importantly, if anything occurs outside of normal business hours, we ask that you use our dispatch emergency information line. That number is listed here as well as the email address. That is our 24-hour, 7-day-a-week dispatch hotline or dispatch number. If anything happens outside of the normal business hours, this is the most direct and quickest way to get the information to us to make us aware. Once you send that information, let's say you send an email to DeKalb Water Ops, then the dispatch will actually dispatch a team member to the area to investigate your concern. Next slide, please. And with that, this concludes our presentation tonight. We want to thank you for your time. And we will now move into the question and answer period of the presentation. Ahead of tonight's meeting, we did receive a list of questions from Ms. Williams, and I do see that she is on the call, and we are going to read her questions and make sure that we address those questions. The first question, first and most importantly, Thompson Mill Road is a primary route for Fire Station number 16 on Pleasantwood Drive. What is being done to ensure that emergency services will not be delayed during construction?
So I'd take that question. That's a great concern and it's a great question. The entire road will not be closed at any given time. Traffic will be allowed to travel Thompson Mill Road. However, the area of construction for that day will be the area impact. That area is estimated to be anywhere from 200 to 500 feet of space that will have traffic detoured around or traffic controlled there to stop and allow the traffic to get through there. But Thompson Mill will be open. There will be just minor inconveniences, less than 1,000 linear foot, somewhere around 500 linear foot to be blocked at any given time. And at the end of the day, that roadway that was disturbed where the pipe was installed will be filled with backfill, gravel, crush and run, and dirt, and available and open for the public to use in the evenings. It's only during the day that the certain areas will be opened for cut, and those areas, again, protected to allow the pipe to be installed. So the public servants, the police and fire rescue, they will definitely take priority to get through that roadway and to wherever they need to get.
Director Hayes, the next question is, have any traffic measurements been taken to calculate best management of traffic flow during the day?
So we understand the volume of traffic that goes through that roadway. We do know that it's a cut through for a great deal of people. We have not done a study to know exactly what that count is, but again, we are very aware of the population in that area and the usage of that road. That being said, we're not closing the road in its entirety, but only small sections at a time to allow us to do the work in that section and then move progressively down to the next section day by day.
Sir, the next question is, can you clarify how long water service will be unavailable and what steps are being taken to ensure residents are not without water during the overnight period?
So there should be no one without water overnight. Again, the construction hours are going to be daytime hours. And at the end of the day, all should be put back into some state of normalcy outside of the unpaved work areas. What you've experienced in the past were main breaks because of the failed infrastructure or the aged infrastructure. And that was unplanned failure. What we plan to do now is to not turn the water off until we have the pipe in the ground. And at that point, we have to sanitize that pipe. And then we connect the local houses to the pipe after it's been sanitized. Before there's any outage, the team should communicate to you the date and the time and expected outage to allow us to connect the new pipe to the other old system or to connect the residents to the new pipe once the new pipe is installed. Those outages should be no more than 30 minutes, 45 minutes, an hour at tops. It should be very quick and fast turnover where we don't impact you. But again, we should and will allow you a notice to say, hey, today we're going to connect this pipe, and you can plan accordingly.
Sir, the next question we have, has the bridge over Snapfinger Creek been inspected recently to ensure that it's in good condition to handle increased traffic from heavy vehicles?
So that's another great question. We have communicated with DeKalb County's Transportation Division. That bridge is an integral part of this project because we have to take our pipe along that bridge. So that bridge, while DeKalb County, my watershed management has not assessed that bridge, we have communicated with transportation, who has given us the authorization to attach this upsized pipe to the side of the bridge. So we have no concerns of the condition of the bridge and no concerns of the bridge not being able to manage or handle this project.
Sir, the next question in the chat, which end of Thompson Mill will you begin working?
That's a great question. I'll refer that question to one of the team members who are going to be on the ground. Anyone from the watershed team want to tackle?
Yes, I'll answer that one. Basically, what we're going to actually do is we're going to start a construction crew from our Miller, where the intersection of, what is that, Miller's Mill, and work our way to Snapfinger, and then come back and then work our way back to Panola Road. So it's going to be different areas that we're going to actually work, but we want to actually start in the middle and kind of work our way out. That's basically how we're going to start.
Very good. Thank you for that answer, BJ.
Sir, we did have a hand, and we will take this person off of mute. Yes, ma'am. Good evening.
Hi, me, Monica Fotheringham.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Yes, I guess that's me. I had my hand up.
Yes, ma'am.
A couple of questions. Now, I got in a little late to the meeting, but I just want to be assured that the water that comes out of my pipes discolored and so on, that this project will address a situation like that. I'll be getting clear water after that.
Yes, ma'am. You should be. This project is intended to address that issue. Now,
Okay.
will it address it 100% of the time? I can't say that that's going to be the case, but on the whole, the water that we deliver to you is extraordinarily clean and safe. It does get discolored every now and then because of constituents that are inside the pipe system, but our pipe system is intact and not breached. Because we are removing the older pipe and we're replacing it with brand new pipe, we're going to remove that tuberculation that's been in that pipe. So you should experience a lot less, extraordinarily a lot less of that brown water. Now, that doesn't say that you will never experience it again, because between this main pipe that we're putting in the ground and the pipe that actually feeds your property, that pipe may not be touched. And if someone breaks that pipe, or if you have buildup in your pipe system, you may experience some brown water here or there. So while it will correct the majority of it, it will not 100% address it. I hope that answered that question.
So it might still be there if there is buildup in my pipes.
It may be some residual in your pipe, in your system. And what we say is that if you experience the brown water, to turn on the fixture and flush your system, and you will clear your system, and that should alleviate that water at that time.
Yeah, because mine has been ongoing. And my other question is just, I saw the picture of the before and after, what the street should look like. And I really, really hope so, because coming down closer from Snapfinger Road, just before you get to the bridge, there are some bad parts of the road where there are potholes at the edge where the street meets the curb. and I complained to roads and drainage or whoever it was about that, and they just came and slopped down some asphalt very sloppily on it and did nothing to alleviate that situation. So I'm assuming, I am really hoping that the after picture that I saw will in effect be what happens, because Thompson Mill Road is already very narrow. Cars come very fast around that corner. And with those potholes there on the side of the road, it's literally several accidents waiting to happen.
Yes, ma'am. So let me be clear about this. We are going to cut the road open and lay pipe into the roadway. And the scope of Watershed's work is to lay the pipe and repair the road that we have disturbed. We will not be paving the entire Thompson Mill Road. But what I will do is take your concern to the authorities who can make the decision and understand exactly where that project is in the scope of road repairs throughout DeKalb County. We do understand that that road has some issues and concerns. I actually drove that road today just to get an understanding of what the construction site is going to look like and to understand what the roadway is. So I see your concerns. I have seen your concerns. I will definitely provide that concern to the other executives of DeKalb to put that on the list to make sure that we get this road repaired in the,
So
in the schedule.
that's between Snapfinger and the bridge over Thompson Mill, and the bridge on Thompson Mill
That
Road.
is correct. Yes, ma'am.
Director Hayes, I have two hands, but before that, Miss Carla Johnson has a question in the chat. Once school begins, buses will be transporting children in the morning and afternoon. Is there a plan in place to ensure the buses will not be greatly impacted so the children will arrive on time?
I'll take that question. So yes, in the morning time, when the immediate traffic is going to work and we're doing schools, the crews will not have the lanes blocked. They understand that when the school are out, the same thing would happen also. Even though our work hours is from 7 to 7, we will accommodate these type of issues.
Thank you, Ms. Marshall. All right, I will call on Ms. Carol Williams first.
Yeah, yes, thank you for taking my call, taking my hand. My question is, when you turn the water off, are you gonna just notify the homes along Thompson Mill? Or will you be notifying the subdivisions behind it? I don't know. I live in Stratford Farms and our interest comes out on Thompson Mill. Will our homes be affected when the water's turned off?
So I'll take this one also. So we're only laying pipe on Thompson Mill. So we really, if we're turning off water service, it really should only affect Thompson Mill. However, we will look at if it's affecting side streets, you will get a notification also.
Ms. Williams, did you have any additional questions? All right, we have Ms. Dion McKenzie with her hand up.
Thank you all for this. I appreciate it. I have one more question that hasn't been answered yet. I believe it's called a deceleration lane from Thompson Mill into my subdivision is on Havenwood Way. Often construction vehicles park there and sometimes overnight. Would that be something that's happening during this time period?
I'll take that one also.
Okay.
I mean, the decel lane, we shouldn't be parking in it.
There,
We can
anyway.
address that immediately with the contractor. And
Okay,
we
yes,
definitely
because
wouldn't park anything overnight in it.
okay, yes, because it does create a hazard for trying to come out of Havenwood Way onto Thompson Mill. So we'd appreciate that. Thank you.
Ms. McKenzie, thank you so much for bringing that to our attention. We appreciate that. What I'd also like to say is one of the things that we rely on you to help us with is if you have homeowners associations, with vast reach in your area, we would love to connect with those associations as well. If you have that information, we ask you to also put that in the chat, or you can feel free to reach out to anyone on the list. Ms. Johnson, Patrice Johnson, if you could go back just one page to the contact information. Yes. Any one of these individuals, and I will also put my email address in the chat. And if there's anything like what Ms. McKenzie brought to our attention tonight, excuse me, we ask that you let us know immediately so that we can address it.
So Alicia, I think there's 2 questions.
In the chat.
Right.
Okay,
There's
hold on,
one
let's
from
see.
Mrs. Williams, Sarah Williams.
Okay,
Understands that the new pipe goes under the road. Is the old pipe under the road? Yes. The old pipe is under the road. The new pipe will not be in the same trench. It will be put in a different location under the road. After the new pipe is in place and placed in service, the old pipe will be filled with a grout or concrete and abandoned in place. We will not remove the old pipe, but it will be rendered useless after the new pipe has been fully commissioned.
So just an FYI though, the old pipe is mostly in the shoulder. It's in the dirt, which is the reason why we have to put the new one somewhat in the road.
Okay. And there's another concern about safety measures that are there to tell people to slow down. People drive so fast, especially in the straightaway stretch between Snapfinger and Rock Springs Road. Our team, we will have signs up to let people know that we're out there working, and we will have flaggers out there to direct traffic. So those flaggers will be slowing those speeders down to a manageable speed. We also have the support of DeKalb County PD, who will not be on the job 24/7, but they will be doing more patrols in the area to ensure that our work area is safe. And if they see someone that's doing more than the speed limit allows, DeKalb PD will address that.
Director Hayes, I do not see any other questions. Okay, hold on. I do see Ms. Carol Williams has her hand up. Ms. Williams.
Can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can.
Okay, my question is, during this project, if the contractors disturb or mess up the entrance to a subdivision, will that be repaired by the county?
Yes, any areas where the contractor has disturbed will be restored back to like in kind or better.
So the intent of Watershed, we put our A-team together to make sure that this project inconveniences this community as little as possible. We will have some traffic impact. Once the pipe gets into the ground, there will be some water impact, a little outage here or there, but it is our intent to minimize the negative impact on the community. And when we walk out of there, we're walking out with this community looking better than it was when we came in. We're for certain going to have better water service and water dependability once we leave this area. You will definitely see a huge difference. It is our intent to be great neighbors and stewards of your community.
Sir, I do not see any other hands. I'm sorry, excuse me, any other questions in the chat? Are there any additional questions?
If there are no other questions, I'd like to thank everyone for allowing us a moment of your time to communicate this important information to you. We appreciate the concerns. We greatly appreciate the questions, and we hope that we have answered the questions in a manner that allows you to better understand what we're doing and why we're here. I can't stress enough that we are definitely team players. We understand the concerns in the community, but at the end of the day, you will be very pleased with the outcome of this project. And my team, they are dedicated to completing this project on time, at or under budget, and with great service to the community. It is our intent to disrupt your day-to-day life as little as possible. And when we have issues or concerns, it is our intent to communicate those issues and concerns to you, to keep you fully abreast and aware of our project and our situations. We want to be a partner. We are a partner. And once we complete this job, we anticipate many, many decades of service with better, improved service to this community. So thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the questions. And thank you for allowing us to share this information. Thank you, team. Let's stop the recording.